Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Eric Schmidt goes head to head against Jake Tapper and just lists off reason after reason why the Democrats are missing the point entirely when it comes to Pete Hegseth. This is great. Let's dive in.
Here's another one with Democratic Senator Tim Kaine.
Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took co-workers to a strip club. You were drunk. You tried to dance with strippers. You had to be held off the stage.
Senator, anonymous false charges.
Right. Well, so that last one wasn't anonymous. But I guess my question is, just to translate for us, when he said anonymous smears, and your colleague Senator Kelly was saying just say true or false, and he wouldn't say true or false. He would say anonymous smears. Did anonymous smears mean false? Is that what he meant?
That's what smear means to me. Somebody's making a false accusation. And so I think, again, he addressed all those. That's why we have this hearing. The Democrats came loaded for bear to try to bloody him up today. Nothing changed. He denied any of those allegations that are all anonymous, except for, I don't know, the one Senator Kaine's referring to. But then also the more salacious one about the charges that were never brought by a prosecutor, a female prosecutor who looked at all the evidence and never brought the charges. So, again, I think they want to make it all about these anonymous accusations that he's denied. And ultimately, I think his nomination stands on its own merit. He's going to do a good job. He's going to reform the Pentagon, and it sorely needs it.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer criticized the chairman of your committee, Roger Wicker, because he didn't allow all committee members to review Hegseth's FBI background check. He suggested, Schumer, that means he has something to hide. What's your response to that?
I mean, it's pretty desperate. Chuck Schumer has covered for some pretty ridiculous things over the last few years. But look, we've done a deep dive on this, and there's just nothing there. I know they want them to be there, and when they say the FBI, they need to do a further investigation, it means they didn't find what they wanted them to find, which is something that's disqualifying. And I think it's just sour grapes. And I would also point out, Jake, in addition to the fact that there have only been 3 negative votes, not confirmations tanked, but 3 negative votes since Bill Clinton on any nominee that's been put forth by the president's party, if that party controls the Senate, it'd be very unusual to not move forward. But the Democrats have succeeded today in breaking another norm on the Armed Services Committee. It's typically a bipartisan committee for good reason, and they've made this a totally partisan enterprise. So, like they did on the Supreme Court and other efforts on their part, they've sort of broken the seal.
I want to get your response to something said by your colleague, Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, defending Hegseth when it comes to the allegations. Again, that Hegseth denies that he was sometimes drunk at work events or on the job. Take a listen.
How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? How many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down?
Sounds like Caligula's palace over there. What kind of drinking and cheating is going on over there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that I've only been here 2 years, Jake. Maybe I haven't seen enough. But I think he's pointing out the hypocrisy that the Democrats, again, the party of Bill Clinton here, somehow have this moral outrage about these accusations. And so I think we're looking at this nomination for who can come in and take on the very important role of running the Pentagon, who can root out DEI. Part of my questioning was to talk about the recruitment crisis we have because of this woke ideology that divides the room by oppressor and oppressed. It's race essentialism. It's killing recruiting. Focusing on China, we need to be able to do that. And then procurement reform, the stuff that the Pentagon needs to do better, more efficiently. China has a bigger Navy than we have. Not a better Navy, but they have a bigger Navy. Mm-hmm. China's in space for real. They're building islands off the South China Sea. So I think it's time we get somebody like Pete Hegseth in place who's not part of the typical permanent Washington cocktail party class, but somebody who's going to shake things up. I think we need that.
This is the point of having someone head of the Department of Defense. He's right on these issues that China is increasing their military. They're currently amassing troops on their not on their southern border, but over near the South China Sea because they want to take Taiwan. Then, furthermore, you've got problems that their navy keeps on increasing in size. Not technically in terms of strength, but when it comes to tonnage, I think the Chinese actually outnumber us. Naturally, they're the second most populous country on Earth. So, of course, they're going to have a large population and a large military, but that's not the point. The point is China desperately wants to take Taiwan. They want to secure the Straits of Malacca, which are down down in Indonesia. They want to ensure that their trade networks remain open, and they will do anything to make sure that happens. This actually gives a good Department of Defense, this gives a good president, this gives a good Secretary of State, all more leverage over the Chinese and the communists, and it's a reminder to them that, hey, their economy is dependent upon us. And it's time we started treating them as such. Joe Biden has not done so. Mayorkas doesn't even know how that works. Lloyd Austin cares more about putting more diverse people in our military than actually strengthening it, because ultimately the entire class, the Washington cocktail party class that Schmidt is talking about here, cares more about their feelings and their little ideas rather than producing a good product. This is why so many people love the idea of businessmen being in office, because ultimately businessmen care about their profits, they care about the product, they care about the logistics. This is why businesses have for so long gone Republican, and it's only in recent years that they have gone so heavily Democrat, because the bigger your corporation, the more you rely on the red tape of bureaucracy, and that stifles the economy to the point where you're the only business left standing. So that's why so many corporations have been turning so Democrat. That's why they have gone so woke recently. But they've seen the writing on the wall, they've seen the terrible products, and they've ultimately have seen that, hey, maybe having someone that hangs out with strippers and used to have too much fun on Friday nights, maybe those kinds of people are better than the current ruling class. Did you ever consider that, y'all? Seriously, when it comes to competency, no one batted an eye when Winston Churchill would drink an entire bottle of champagne for lunch. When the American press, because the American press has almost always been nothing but a bunch of muckraking journalists who are trying to hawk newspapers instead of report the news, and they tried to get Ulysses S. Grant fired from his job, all because he almost lost the Battle of Shiloh, and once they found out that he loved to drink, well, after victory in the Western theater during the war between the states, Lincoln was getting pressure to fire Grant. And not only did he say, I can't spare this man, he fights, he then said, well, let's see, what does he drink? Maybe I should send a bottle to all of my other generals, because at the time he was dealing with the know-it-all yet did nothing with it, George McClellan. And to take a page from history, you either had the alleged drunkard who smoked cigars all the time, and Ulysses Grant, or you had the man who observed the Crimean War, was second in his class, knew everything under the sun, but could never fully win a battle against Lee. Which are you going to pick here? You're going to pick Grant, okay? You're going to pick the guy who fights, you're going to pick the guy who wins, and it does not matter of his moral turpitude. It does not matter that he might have had a drinking problem. It does not matter about these allegations. I do not care. You put the competent men in the best positions to succeed, and you deal with the PR nightmare later. And then when history looks back and says, hey, we succeeded because of this guy, guess what they're not going to remember? They're not going to remember where Pete Hegseth might have failed morally. They will remember the successes, because that's the important part. That's the ugly truth. Now, I am not out here saying that we shouldn't have moral people in office, but let's be honest. When the Democrats are clutching their pearls, all you have to do is remind them that they backed up Bill Clinton, who, let's be honest, when it came to the people he abused, he simply said, you want to put some ice on that. Yeah. Don't let Democrats pearl clutch, okay? This is not the time. The time is for action. The time is for competency in government, which is what the American people deserve, and it's what the world deserves. Because the world does not deserve to be ruled by Russia, by China, by Iran and their cronies. It does not deserve to be ruled by BRICS. All right? The United States is one of the best nations in world history, and the sooner we accept that and move forward with it, the sooner things are going to finally come back to normal. And the world deserves that, and particularly the United States deserves good government. Because, let's be honest, folks, we're Americans. We're entitled to this. Okay? We deserve good things, and I think Pete Hegseth is one of those people that can deliver that for our military. And let's be honest, Eric Schmidt, thank you, sir. You're becoming one of my favorite senators. This is why This is why you want lawyers in the Senate, because these guys actually understand an argument, and they also understand what good, competent government looks like. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Political. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.